Okay, so this type of quiz that we created is actually one that doesn't let a student go forward until they've selected the correct answer, and it'll also give them some feedback based on an answer. So I'll just show you what it looks like, and then I'll show you how we can create that. So the first question is just, what's your name? My name's David. Hello. So I click next, and then I've got question number 1, and it says find the distance around the track to the nearest meter. So if I come in here and I know that this is the wrong answer, and I click next, it's going to bring me to something that may help, a bit of a kind of a guide, even though it's not the same numbers. And then the student, when they click next or back, they're brought right back to that same question where they would have to go through, figure out what the correct answer is. If they keep getting it wrong, keeps bringing them back to the same clue. And then if they finally get it correct, it says, great job. And then you can customize the text of what it actually says. And then they're on to the next question. And then the same thing, right? If they get it wrong, it brings them to something that can be a clue to help. And you can add in text or images as well. And so if they get it right, and again, keep moving forward in there. So this was, again, created using Google Forms. So if I go forms.google.com, and I'm going to create a new one. And I'll just do this with 2 questions so you can see. So I'm going to say, this is my quiz and must get perfect. So this is going to be something where they have to get every single question correct before moving on, right? So I can say something like, what is the answer to 4 plus 4? I know this is really simple, but let's say kids don't know it. Okay, so let's say one of the answers is 2. I can do another answer as 4, 6, and then 8. Okay, so I'm going to select which answer is correct by clicking right there. Oh, just kidding. I'm going to make this a required answer. And what I'm going to do, I can't select that it's correct, but what I'm going to do here is in the bottom right-hand corner, remember where we did go to, there was a response validation. Now what we're going to do is click on go to section based on answer. And the way that we're going to do this is actually in different sections. So if they get the correct answer, they go to the next section. But if they if they get an incorrect answer, they want to be brought right back to this same section. Okay, so down here at the bottom of the right-hand side, there's this spot that says add section. So we can add a section here. And notice, this is section 1 of 2. That's where that question is. Now, then this is section 2. So what I can call this then is my great job. So that will be the second section. So if they get the question correct, they go to that section 2. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to say, well, if they get the correct answer of 8, I'm going to say they go to section 2. Okay. If they get anything else, we're going to go back to section 1, and that's that same question. Okay, that would just bring them right back to the question. What I can do, though, is if I want to add a new section as well, okay, so let's call this section 2 now. We'll call this incorrect. Inside here, you can give a description. Maybe you should try adding instead of subtracting. Right, and I can add an image inside here as well if I want. So this is now section number 2. So since I've reordered the question or the sections, notice this one automatically changed. But what I can do then is if they get the question wrong, I can set that to section number 2 for all of the incorrect answers. And if they try to continue to the next, or sorry, after they finish section 1, what we want them to do is go to, we're going to say the incorrect one. We just don't want them to be able to move forward if they didn't get it right. So then what we'll do is we'll say, well, from here, once they've been brought to section number 2, which is incorrect, we want them to go back to section number 1. So the progression here would be if they select 2, 4, or 6, they will be brought down to section number 2, which is the incorrect. Then once they see that, they're going to be redirected back to section number 1 until they get this answer correct of 8, which then it will bring them to section number 3, and you can have that messaging there. Then what you want to do is create a new section number 4. which we're going to say, okay, after they get that, they're going to go to section number 4, and we're going to call this question number 2, right? And then in the same way that we created the question up here, we can say question number 2, what is 4 times 4? Same type of question. Oh, I forgot to add a question. My bad. So I'm going to add a question inside that section, my mistake, and I'll call that question 2, what is 4 times 4? And we'll get some answers of 0, we'll get some answers of 4, 8, 16, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll add a couple sections in after. Okay, so I'm just going to add in, I'm going to add in 3 sections after. And if they get this 0, 4, or 8, they're going to go to this incorrect Q2 section. So I can, again, make that a required question, go to section based on answer, and I'm going to go to incorrect Q2, incorrect Q2, incorrect Q2. This one I'm also going to make them go to incorrect Q2. That's if they just click next. And then here, we're going to push them back to question number 2. So that would be section 4, I think. So we'll actually call this question 2 like that, and then question 2 from there. Okay, so once they've gone from question 2, they got it incorrect, they moved up here. If they get it correct, we want that to go to section number 6, which is going to be, congratulations, you got question number 2 correct. And then if that's the total number of questions, we want them to go to the last section, which is, you've finished. And then you can also put the code for a lock is whatever you want. Left, right, up, down, whole day start. Okay, so here, once we've done all of that, I know it looks a little crazy, but it isn't that difficult to do. Again, I can preview this, and now let's see how it goes. So there's the first question here. If I click next, it's going to tell me that I have to answer the question. If I click 2, it's going to bring me to incorrect. Maybe you should try adding instead of subtracting. Let's try next. Okay, brings me back to that question. Same thing will happen for 4 or 6, but if I click on 8, it will tell me, great job. And you can put some more information there if you want. Click next. Now what's the question? 4 by 4. Okay, 8. Oh shoot, that was wrong, incorrect. Let's go next. 16. Awesome, congratulations, next. And I've finished. So I can find, and now I get that code for the lock is that. Okay, so again, you can also put in images here instead of just text, and that isn't, it's not too difficult. All you would do is inside any of these little sections. So let's say right here for that incorrect question, I can click on this add image, and I can either drag in something. So I'll drag in that same quiz question, even though it's not really going to make much sense. And there you go. So in this incorrect section, if I'm viewing it, it will look like this. Okay, so you've got a lot of things to play with inside here if you want. But the most important piece here, remember, the idea here is we wanted to link to this. So now that we want to link out to this from our site, what we're going to do is go back to that send button. And this time we're not going to use the embed code. We're going to use the link. So we want this link, and you can either copy this whole thing or you can just shorten the URL, and it'll make it a little bit shorter here. And I can click copy. And then what I'm going to do is go back to my site, and now I'm going to click on this icon for the quiz, put in the link, and then paste it in there and select apply. Okay. So now anytime I want to make sure that this is going to be published, I'm going to click publish in the top right hand corner, and it's going to make sure that all of these things have been published successfully. Now I'll click view, and what you'll end up seeing is what the site actually looks like now. So you see here, when I hover over that, it's going to give me a link. When I click on that link, it brings me right to that Google form. Okay, so that is how you can create an interactive quiz where the students have to get perfect before moving on to everything, and how you can link that quiz inside here from an image.